Hello, good morning and welcome to News X. We're live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 125. Across all our social media handles, we're Joy News on TV. Coming up, Defense Ministry deploys security forces across the country to enforce ban on export of locally grown rice, maize and soybean as government confirms an impending food crisis.
The security agencies are immediately activating their network to ensure that the ban on cereals, which has been listed, are regularly enforced so that nobody will take even a single grain out.
We'll hear from the Agric Minister, who reveals an initial assessment of the impact of dry spell on 8 regions shows nearly 500,000 farmers will be directly affected.
About 928,523 farmers, cropping 1.8,557,000 hectares, are at risk.
Also, the National Democratic Congress is this morning calling for an urgent meeting with the Electoral Commission over what it describes as, quote, serious discrepancies, unquote, discovered during the ongoing 2024 voter exhibition exercise. We'll engage the party for more on this. My name is Faustina Safo. Please take your seat and be my guest. Thanks for choosing us for your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Now, the Defense Ministry has deployed security forces across the country to enforce a ban on the export of locally grown rice, maize and soybean as government confirms an impending food crisis. Agric Minister Brian Echampon says an initial assessment of the impact of dry spell on 8 regions shows nearly 500,000 farmers will be directly affected, with an estimated revenue loss of 10.4 billion cedis. Mr. Echampon also says government will be supporting affected farmers with 1,000 Ghana cedis per hectare and will be buying their harvest directly as they move in to avert possible food shortage.
About 928,523 farmers, cropping 1.8,557,000 hectares, are at risk. And I'm talking about those at risk. These farmers will lose an estimated investment of 7.4 billion cedis if there is total crop failure. The 928,523 farmers cropping 1.8,507,000 hectares, those at risk, they will lose an estimated investment of 7.4 billion if there is total crop failure. The corresponding revenue loss is estimated at 22.2 billion. So the investment is what they put in seeds, in inputs, fertilizers, farm hands, and all that they put into crop. That is 7 billion. The revenue is the sales, what they will derive from the investment that they will make. And that is estimated at 22 billion, representing 10% of agriculture GDP, which in itself is about 220 billion. As at 20th August, 435,872 farmers cultivating an estimated area of 871,000 hectares have been directly affected. So earlier on, I talked about those at risk being 928,523. The 435,872 are those that have been confirmed as affected as at 20th August, and the audit is still ongoing. With the projected shortfall in grain supply, government will tap into the ECOWAS grain reserve and partner with the private sector to bridge the gap. Government will also bring in 300,000 metric tons of maize and 150,000 metric tons of rice to provide food support to vulnerable farmers who have lost their crop and also for the market. Additionally, we will bring in a total volume of 26,000 metric tons of poultry feed to directly support the poultry industry as maize, their main raw material, has been severely affected. And of the at-risk, we have been able to confirm 435,000, cultivating 871,000 hectares. Government has decided to provide financial support amounting to 1,000 Ghana cedis per hectare to the most vulnerable among these farmers as partial cover for their investment. Government will also provide affected vulnerable farmers with some food grant to enable them meet their minimum nutritional requirement.
Well, the Defense Minister, Dominic Intiwo, confirms his ministry will deploy security forces across the country to enforce the ban on the export of locally grown rice, maize and soybean as government confirms an impending food crisis.
The security agencies are immediately activating their network to ensure that the ban on cereals, which has been listed, are regularly enforced, so that nobody will take even a single grain out. We have the approved routes and the unapproved routes. About 80% to 90% of all exports pass through the approved routes. And so I just want to assure you that already we have a lot of security personnel. From today, we'll ensure that no truck loads of grains will leave Ghana across to anywhere. The unapproved routes, we will also get all the security agencies to ensure that even the 20% does not leave our nation. It helps us as well because we have a big problem, which is the terrorist attacks all over across the other side. So if the ban is put in place, it's enabling us to deploy actively along the borders. It will help. But security is as good as the citizens themselves. So please take advantage of, if you see something, say something, and help the security agencies as well. You yourself are security people yourselves. So as long as you see something that has escaped the eagle eye of the security, please let us know. We'll act well. We are deploying all across the borders, particularly the northern part. We are also to the east and the south. And so we'll ask citizens to support the security agencies, that if for some reason there is some unapproved route or approved route or somebody sees something that is going on that is not nice, please let us know.
Touch base with our reporters on the ground as we check government enforcement protocols along the country borders. If you just tuned in, we're just giving you information that the Defense Ministry has deployed security forces across the country to enforce a ban on the export of locally grown rice, maize and soybean as government confirms an impending food crisis as a result of the projected impact of dry spell. Now we start from Wa. Rafiq Salam is a man on the ground. Rafiq, what can you report?
Good morning. Let me say that we had a heavy downpour for about 12 hours in the region, and we are still experiencing it in some parts of the region. What the minister spoke about, the ban on the importation of cereals and other what do you call it? Other plants, other crops are into the country, other food stuff into the country. For the people here are really welcoming it, but can it be sustained? Because here in the Upper West region, we are having lots of porous borders. If you go to the Hambeli or the Sisala enclave, you can count as many as over 40 communities that are not, that have porous borders and that people can have access to this country. But the ban on the importation, yes, they are welcoming it. And also government also came out with a package that they will be giving each farmer about 1,000 Ghana cedis. They also welcome that idea, but they are saying that it's too little for them, because when you take the cost of farming 1 acre of farmland, it costs the least is about 3,000 Ghana cedis. And if government is coming up with only 1,000 Ghana cedis, yes, it's good, but they think that it's lip service to the farmers. And so the situation here in the Upper West region is really not quite good. When you go to the markets that we have here, we can talk about prices of commodities that are happening day in, day out. When you take a case like something like beans, a product like beans used to sell, a bowl used to sell around 50 Ghana cedis. As I speak to you now, in the market, it's about 75 Ghana cedis. You go to a bag of maize, which used to sell around 250 Ghana cedis. That's about, I'm talking about 50 kilos. Today it's being sold around 340 Ghana cedis. And so there's a skyrocket of prices in the Upper West region, and then the people really are not happy with what is really going on.
And this is even before government projected impact of this dry spell. But then I'm sure you've been snooping around the borders. Has government, military officers or the immigration service been deployed to do the job of ensuring the enforcement of the ban?
Already we're having a substantial amount of military personnel in our borders because of these terrorist activities that they are trying to clamp down. And so when you go to the Sisala enclave and also around the Hamley borders, we have substantial amount of, of security personnel already stationed. The worry of the people already is not about the borders, the frontiers of the country, but the worry is about the porous borders. We have several illegal routes that come into this country from the Sisala area and also from the Hamley, from the whichever ends of the borders. And so at least we are gotten a substantial amount of military men around this enclave. But can they police these barriers, these forest borders? That is a question.
Unfortunately, we've
that people are really asking whether they can be able to.
Rafiq, we're losing connection to you intermittently, so you have to position rightly and please make your point.
I'm saying that we have substantial amount of security personnel in our borders because of these issues of alleged terrorist attacks in Looming County. We go here and also around the West area. Let me tell you that from Kokoluku up to our Sola, we're having about 80 communities that are closer to, that shares a border with the Black Border. And so all these areas that we have a substantial amount of military men there. But the worry of the people has to do with these illegal routes that come into this country. So when you take even a place like Fielamo and then also Hamley area, you can count as many as 15 unapproved routes that comes into the country. So the people are saying that, yes, it's good to deploy these security men in this area. But whether they can police these illegal routes is another matter.
Okay, let's head now to the northeast region. Ilyas Utanko is a man on the ground. Ilyas, what can you report?
Well, same situation in the northeast region. Yesterday, we have some downpour across the region. And this morning, the residents have to deal, some of the residents have to deal with the impact of flooding already in that particular region.
Now let's look at the enforcement protocols, because government has served notice that indeed they will be deploying security personnel across the country to ensure the ban on
recovering the whole region. It looks like.
Yes, we lost you briefly. I was just asking you about the security enforcement protocols. You've been doing your snooping around. Has the security personnel been sent across the border?
Yes, we have a number of security forces already stationed in the region as a result of the insecurity in neighboring Togo as well as Burkina Faso. And so what we are understanding is that this particular security has to just tweak or streamline their activities by deploying some of these men to these particular areas that the defense minister is talking about. But largely or essentially, the residents themselves feel that this is something that is not going to be possible since this particular government came to power, it has been trying to place this particular ban on the exportation of grains, but that has not been able to hold water, especially in the Northeast region, as a result of a number of factors, including the porosity of the borders and also the deplorable nature of the roads. For instance, those living in Cherpone and Buntrogo do not have roads to urban centers where they will send their goods for sale. And so most of them tend to depend on urban centers in neighboring countries. For instance, in Cherpone, a majority of them depend on the town of Mango, which is one of the urban centers in neighboring Togo, to sell their goods because of the proximity and because of the situation of the road. It's very difficult for them to transport their goods or farm input to market like Yendi, Gushegu, and even Tamale because of the poor nature of the road. And so they are saying that government should first of all tackle these inadequacies, construct good roads for them so that they can have easy access to market, and then ensure that there's enough security at this particular border. There was a time, sometime last year, that the Regional Security Force, Security Council intended to enforce this particular ban. We had a situation where the residents themselves were cutting these goods in the night and were meeting people halfway in neighboring countries to transport these particular goods to neighboring countries. So it's not about the number of security forces or the number of boots on the ground, according to the residents, but it's about making sure that they are, smooth public services such as good road, so that they can have easy access to transport their goods to urban centers.
I know you've also been engaging some of the farmers. Are they satisfied with the interim relief plans that government is rolling out to ease their plight?
Not at all. A few farmers that we have spoken with since yesterday are saying that the 1,000 cities that has been announced for 1 acre is woefully inadequate. As my colleague Rafik mentioned, even in the Northeast region, some people are quoting 5,000 Ghana cedis that will be needed in able to cultivate adequately a 1 acre farmland. And so to take 1,000 cedis is woefully inadequate for them. And they are also asking that the government should come and do some work along the waterways of the White Volta, so that in the event that the Bagre Dam is spilled, we know that it has been spilled, but we still don't have enough impact from the spillage. So the residents are asking the government to come in to do some desilting, if you like, along these particular waterways to minimize the impact of the Bagre Dam spillage.
Ilyasu Tanko, thank you for your time here on NewsDesk. Let's take you now to the Bono region. And Asabit is on the ground for us at the Bono East region. Thank you so much for your time. And what can you report from the ground?
Faustina, thank you so much for this opportunity. The impact of the dry spell in the Bono East region is nothing different from what my colleague Elias just painted. Of course, for months, the region, stayed without rainfall, and that affected a lot of, the farmers that are in the area. I think a few days ago, I reported on how 100 acres of a maize farm in the Kintaba South district of the region has gone waste entirely, 100 acres and more. We visited some many more farms, and these farmers are unable to salvage not even an acre of all their investments, and that according to them is a worrying development, and they are looking up to government to actually intervene swiftly to enable them stay in business, because it has started raining already, and if they are unable to get something to go back to their farms, that means they will not be able to plant now, and if they are unable to plant now, that means they can't, harvest anything later in the year. So their cause is that government's support should come as swift as possible, because sometimes some of these promises come, and the time it will take for the support to reach them is also another problem. So for the farmers here, we've been engaging. That has been their call, how authorities could come to their rescue as soon as possible to enable them to go back to their farms and then start planting something new once the rains have started already in this part of the country.
The government says they will be deploying security personnel around the country to ensure that the enforcement of the ban is adhered to. What can you report with that regards in your area?
Kindly come again, I hardly hear.
I want to find out, in your region, the enforcement of the ban on the export of maize, rice, and soybean. How is it going on in that region? The government tells us they will be deploying security forces. Have you seen any of them so far?
I am yet to come across such, security team that is deployed, that is being deployed. If you could remember, or listeners could remember, of viewers, about a month or two ago, I had to do an exclusive story from the Techiman Central Market where the traders here are saying the maize that is being transported into the municipality, most of which had to come from the north, the northern and then the upper east and upper west regions, are being exported out of the country. So even before it gets to the Techiman Central Market, it's been exported there. So over here, we don't have the maize in abundance already for these traders to come in to pick them. And like I said earlier, we are yet to come across such security deployments here in the region. I am not aware whether they have started already, but we are yet to see them. And the most important thing for the traders here is for government to ensure that the borders or the border town or ends should be sealed, because once it is sealed, this farm produce or this maize crops will find their way into the Techiman Central Market and eventually to other buyers in other parts of the country as well.
And as Sabit join us from the Borno East region, let's head now to the northern region, because our correspondent there, Martina Bugri, has been engaging some of the traders who say even before government projected time of the impact of this dry spell on food shortage, they say that the prices of maize, locally grown rice, and soybean is already skyrocketing. Martina joins us live with more. Martina, first of all, translate for us what was she saying there.
So the First Lady talks of how prices keep increasing every day, and she has offers, and so the latest is able to make good with them. But the way prices are going up is called able to make profit to keep the family at stake. And the second one of they give credit for the rain.
Martina,
but
rightly, we seem to be losing you intermittently, so you have to position rightly. She's just giving us updates on what's happening in the northern region. If you just tune in, we're discussing government's efforts to ensure that the impact of the dry spell is mitigated. The Defense Ministry is deploying security personnel across the country to ensure the enforcement of a ban on the export of locally grown rice, maize, and soybean. Martina, I'm hoping to have better connection to you now. Please.
I hope so too.
Make your point.
Yes, so the second one also talks of the drought and its impact on prices now. She further said that before this time, they already had issues with prices because farmers buy produce, farm inputs, and complain it's too expensive. And then they go and farm. So prices were already high. But with what has happened, it's made everything worse. And so food prices would continue to shoot up. Now, the northern region, I spoke to some market women, a bag of maize currently ranges between 1,000 and 1,300. But last year, same time, we're buying a bag of maize for 350 cedis. Beans currently is about 1,700, whereas it was sold at about 1,000 last year. Groundnut is about 1,400, whereas it was sold about 400 or 450. So this is how the prices have doubled. And so the market women are really very worried. You struggle, buy and come, and nobody's buying because they come with prices and they feel it's too high. And so they are hoping that, yes, with the ban government is saying, it will actually be effective. But when you speak to people who live around the border, they doubt this would work because most of the unapproved routes are the problem. Saboba, for instance, all you need to do is a canoe to be able to cross into Togo. And so if those areas are not checked, then it will not be something that will be effective. And my checks with the various borders show that they are yet to deploy the security there. They already have security because of the terrorist situation. But to say that to add more, it is yet to arrive.
Thank you, Martina Bugri. Now, let's speak to a farmer. They are feeling the pinch of some of these effects of the dry spell. His name is Prince Jan. He joins us live from the Bono East region. Thank you for your time here on Newsdesk. Now, government has laid out a plan, and they have said they're putting in interim measures to ensure that they mitigate the impact on the farmer. They say they'll be given 1,000 cedis per acre. Are you satisfied with that? Prince, you have to unmute for me to hear you clearly, please. Well, if you just tune in, we're trying to get connection to Prince Jan. He's a farmer joining us live from the Bono East region. We're just discussing government interim measures to ensure that we are not plunged into a state of food crisis. So far, we know that the impact of the dry spell is being felt far and wide, especially in the northern region. Government says that as an interim measure, they are placing a ban on the export of locally grown rice, soybean and maize as they move to ensure that we secure our food supply in the country. Well, we're just speaking now to a farmer. His name is Prince Jan from the Bono East region. He joins us to share his thoughts about the interim measures government is putting in place to ensure that as farmers, they do not feel the pinch of these measures they're rolling out. Prince, I'm hoping to have better connection to you now. Government has laid out their plan. Are you pleased with some of the measures?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Let me first say good morning to you, Getty, my fellow participants, not forgetting our cherished, listeners. I really appreciate and I'm so grateful to the government for at least being very proactive this time. Government has come out with a package, and there are a lot of criticisms out there. In fact, it is something that people would continue to debate. But for me, I think what the government has started is good because half a loaf, they say, is better than none.
As a farmer, Prince, how much does it cost you to cultivate a hectare?
My dear sister, to cultivate, hectare of maize, you would need something around 3,000 as far as my region is concerned. I am speaking solely based on my jurisdiction, so I don't know what happens elsewhere.
Yeah.
In Kitampo South, to cultivate an hectare you would spend not less.
We seem to be losing connection to Prince.
3,500.
We're glad we have you back. Please make your point.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm saying that one would have to spend not less than 3,000. So within the range of 2,500 to 3,500, depending upon certain factors. So that is it.
Now, government says that they would at least provide you with 1,000 cedis per hectare, and you say that is good enough. Looking forward, what other measures do you propose government put in place to mitigate the impact on local farmers?
Yeah, thank you very much, my dear. I think the first thing to mention is once government has been this proactive to put up this package, it shouldn't be, a lip service. They shouldn't only be playing politics around it. Now, by the grace of God, the rains, have started coming. So if they are giving us 1,000 cedis, though inadequate, but just as I said, half a loaf is better than none. So if they give it to us now, we'll be able to do something to ameliorate our situation, our plight, to probably rebound back.
Thank you so much, Prince Jan. Join us here on Newsdesk. Now, we know that the Finance Ministry has also put in place interim measures to ensure that they finance some of these proposals that government is putting forward. Let's do some other stories now. This time we shift our attention to politics. The National Democratic Congress is calling for an urgent meeting with the Electoral Commission over what it describes as, quote, serious discrepancies, unquote, discovered during the ongoing 2024 voter exhibition exercise. In a letter signed by the party's General Secretary, Fifi Fiavikwete, the NDC expressed concerns about inconsistencies between the provisional voter register provided by the Commission and the register currently being exhibited at the various centers. Well, the party is urging a swift resolution to these issues to ensure that the upcoming elections are free and fair. And that statement is coming up on your screen shortly as we give you excerpts of that statement. It says that we bring you greetings from the NDC party headquarters, Accra, and trust that this letter finds you well. We write to request for an important emergency meeting with you and your team to discuss very serious discrepancies discovered during the ongoing 2024 voter exhibition exercise. They emanate from analysis of provisional voter register given to us by the Commission and registers being exhibited at the centers. They go on to say we anticipate a favorable and timely response as we work towards free and fair, transparent elections. Well, ahead of this meeting, let's speak to the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustapha Bande. Thank you for your time here on Newsdesk. Now, highlight for us some of these discrepancies that you're pointing out. What specific discrepancies did you identify in the provisional voter register and the register being exhibited at the centers?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished listeners. I think that our analysis team have discovered very huge fundamental data discrepancies in terms of the registration that we have done and also the provisional voter register that was given to political parties. And then what has been provided or what is being used by the Commission itself at the various exhibition centers that are ongoing. And these discrepancies goes to the root of the credibility of the exercise that we are undertaking. We have decided that the Electoral Commission is an institution, and the first step, let us request a meeting. Let the Commission avail itself and the presence of other political parties who equally have interest so that these matters can first be addressed by the Commission, because obviously the Commission is the institution responsible for everything that is about election registers and everything. So for the benefit of the doubt, we think that it's appropriate that the Commission would be briefed on some of the particulars of the issues before we hit to public, so that In the event that the commission is not able to deal with it, then we can open up. But in the meantime, I can refer you to some other ancillary issues, such as what has happened in Tamale, where people are being transferred from one constituency to the other from Tamale South precisely to Pusiga constituency. So it's not even adjoining constituencies, it's another region. Pusiga and Tamale are very far. And so how did we get to a place where people and their data is being transferred when they haven't actually applied for transfer? So these matters are very serious issues, including, like I said, huge discoveries, fundamental discoveries of discrepancies that the Electoral Commission should be able to address if the IPAC meeting we have requested through the General Secretary of our party to the Electoral Commission. We are hoping that we'll have that meeting and on the hand side, get the issues addressed at that level before we discuss such discrepancies outside.
Has the EC officially reached out to you confirming a date for the meeting?
Not that I know of yet, but I believe that the issues we have on the table are so serious that by now our off-record conversation would have appropriately informed the commission that, look, what has ensued, the entire process is so serious, but we also believe that it can be corrected because as an institution, they are there to make up things. So when it falls the standard, it's the responsibility of political parties as stakeholders to call to their attention. And I believe that they should be able to effect and restate what the correct thing is so that together we can have a transparent and a credible election.
Now, does your concern also include the arrest of an individual alleged to be in possession of missing ECBVD? Because this came up last week and the EC had assured that indeed they've put measures in place to ensure that whatever happened with that arrest does not affect the quality of results they put out or the integrity of the election.
Well, I believe that I completely disagree and depart from the position of the Electoral Commission. Such a sensitive device that one may call a security device for the purposes of the work it does, how did it get to a public place in order to be sold? And so it has everything to do with the credibility and the intactness of the data that we have. Our data, as far as the Electoral Commission is concerned, is so vulnerable, is so available to be accessed at the marketplace. And for me, I believe that when the Electoral Commission continue to say discrepancies or challenges that we are seeing or manifesting itself have the tendency to affect every job, and the commission continue to give assurance, for me, it's even more scarier, because we should not even be at a place where your recorder that you used to work is found at the marketplace where somebody is being sold after you have gone to do interviews. That is complete negligence. That is complete affront to your effort to have a credible exercise. Credibility of the exercise is key. Fundamental is the commitment of the Electoral Commission to ensure that the exercise is grounded with utmost fairness and public trust. Where is the public trust when the devices that we use to vote are found in the marketplace and being sold? And so I disagree with the Electoral Commission. But again, these are matters that would have to critically be discussed at IPAC with the commission involved so that we can find a common ground to protect the data, to protect the devices that we have, and to further strengthen trust, as far as I'm concerned, that will lead to a transparent and a peaceful process. But if we continue to live by the notion of the Electoral Commission and their promises where they fail every day, they have basically become an institution that promises every day and fail, because throughout some time now, anytime the Electoral Commission promises to do one thing, the end result is another thing, and that is more fearful going into this election.
Well, let's head now to Parliament. Thank you, Mr. Fagbande, because news just reaching us is that part of Job 600 building in Parliament is on fire as we speak. It is not clear what exact part, but the entire premise is being evacuated as we speak. The Assurance Committee was expected to meet with the Works and Housing Minister. That is on hold for now. My colleague Kwekwa Santi joins us live with more. Kwekwa, what can you report?
Is currently being evacuated. Every person that's currently inside is being asked to come out. A number of key meetings that were just about to happen in Parliament have all now been put on hold. I'm just seeing the Works and Housing Minister just drive out because that meeting, we understand, is not going to come on up until about 3:30. That is the kind of indication we are getting. But the information we are learning, what we can confirm now, is that the member center, it is in the Justice Center building. That is where members of Parliament can go and access a wide range of services in Parliament. That is the building. That part of the building is what has caught fire. The fire service has been on hand since the fire broke out and have been trying to douse the flames. Media have not been allowed very close to the scene because Parliament is trying to protect the situation and try and get their fire service as much access as possible. A number of ECG vehicles are all coming in because we understand what might have caused the fire, maybe issues regarding electricity and issues. So a number of ECG vehicles are all now coming to Parliament. We do not know yet if the fire tender that is in Parliament now is enough to douse this flame. The number of fire service cars also coming in to pick up in quick transition, all coming in to where the fire tender is now to try and see if the flame can be doused. And what we understand now is that much of that fire has been put under control, but not entirely. The fire service is hoping that in the next few minutes they'll be able to douse the flame completely and then decide whether or not the building is safe for members to return, for official duties and other things that are currently happening in the House to happen. And for those of you who are not familiar with Job 600 and Parliament, if you come to Parliament, there is a 12-floor building that serves as the office for members of Parliament. That is the building in question that has caught fire, not exactly the chamber building where members of Parliament sit. The House is also currently outbreak. They are not sitting. Members of Parliament, most of them are all in their constituencies. But a number of committees have work to do. In fact, yesterday, the committee set up to probe the spillage of the Akosobo Dam was sitting in the same building that has caught fire, very close to where the fire is now, but today they are not sitting. The Government Assurance Committee was sitting in the committee rooms when the announcement came that the building had to be evacuated, but journalists and other people were all taken out. In fact, I've just seen another fire tender having joined the first one that came in, that is just driving out of where the situation is happening now. So, understanding is that the fire has largely been doused, and 2 fire tenders on hand in Parliament have done a job, and the clerk is expected to brief them pretty shortly as to what exactly is happening. This fire tender is entering the Job 600 area to try and see if the fire is spreading to the other areas. So for tonight, it's a very fluid situation here in Parliament. So many Ghana National Fire Service members who are all coming into these vehicles to try and get the situation under control. But what we can confirm is that in the member center right here in Parliament, that caught fire, a bit of that in the Justice 600 building, just near the Justice ZF Annual Auditorium, within the Job 600 building. Much of the fire has been doused. 2 fire tenders on site now. More fire service personnel coming, a number of pickups. Electricity company officials have also come in to try and see if there is any danger to transmission lines within the house so that they can fix all that situation.
Kwekwa Asante there joining us live. If you just tuned in, we're just bringing you news that portions of Job 600 building is engulfed in flames. The fire service has been deployed to try and douse the flames, and he's just reporting that there was some committee meeting that was expected in that building, but that is on hold for now, and people have been evacuated as the fire service works on ensuring that they tame the flames. Well, this is Newstex. We'll be back with business. Do stay tuned in.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Commercial banks are expecting interest rates to drop further as a result of falling inflation in order to formulate a more sustainable lending program to support businesses. According to Managing Director for GCB Bank, John Adumako, this will help in bringing down the high non-performing loans in the banking sector. He He was speaking to journalists after addressing some investors and shareholders on the facts behind the figure series at the Ghana Stock Exchange.
NPLs, as you saw in the Bank of Ghana report, NPLs are high, over 20% in the industry. Yes, GCB as an individual bank, NPLs have come down slightly, but they are still high. They are not where we want to be. They are outside of our risk appetite, and we still need to work hard to bring NPLs down. What are we going to do about it? Tighter underwriting standards, working with our customers to understand their businesses better and structure deals better. But the real fundamental issue is interest rates are high. Okay, so we have to find ways and means of getting our customers to attain liquidity, to attain financing without necessarily borrowing. We're doing a lot of structured trade finance types of transactions, which are structured in such a way that they don't have to borrow and pay the kind of interest rate. But the good news is that inflation is coming down, interest rates are coming down. I know the Bank of Ghana is watching very closely. The pressures are still there. I think at the right time, monetary policy rates will also come down, the GRR rates will come down, and we'll get ourselves into a more sustainable lending program to support Ghanaian businesses and individuals so that businesses can grow. It is in the interest of banks that interest rates are sustainable, because if interest rates are sustainable, we can lend more, we can make more money, we can create more value for our shareholders, and our customers can also pay back our loans.
Now, acquiring litigation-free land can be a major headache for property seekers. However, Ultimate Land Hub Limited offers innovative and cost-effective solutions with hassle-free land acquisition process across the country. Whether you're looking at prime sites like Central University, Shy Hills, or Agric, Ultimate Land Hub has you covered. This year, at the EcoBank Joint East Habitat Fair, the company is preparing to offer discounted land parcels to prospective buyers. Here's a glimpse of what the company does best.
And I'm with Ultimate Land Hub. Ultimate Land Hub is a real estate company that has been in existence for the past 5 years now, and it is specialized in selling of lands. We have our lands in prime areas in Accra, such as Shy Hills, Pram around the Central University. We also have areas within Agric, particularly Agric Obwadaka. It is about 35 minutes drive from Adontin Senior High School, and also we have areas within Kumasi and its environs that we are selling. As part of our services as well, we are also into services such as property management, property development, brokerage services as a company. At Ultimate Land Hub, we're focusing on every group of people, be it individuals, institutions or corporate institutions, group of people, and of course those who are also living diaspora, who are looking forward to making real estate investments in Ghana. All this group of people form part of our client base and the people that we are focusing on or we are targeting as our prospective client base. At Ultimate Land Hub, we have made some sales from 5 years for the past years. Okay, so in an area like Shy Hills, we have made about 35 to 45 acres. In Pram, we have made about 30 to 45 acres of sales. Agric, we have also made about 5 acres of sales, and of course in Kumasi as well, we have made about 10 acres of sales. At Ultimate Land Hub, our key focus is on the security that we would provide or we would give to purchasers or buyers, from people who buy from us. So in this view or in this regard, the security or the peace of mind of each client is our topmost priority. And as a result of that, we ensure that all lands that we put up for sale are litigation free. They are not lands that have previously been acquired by any group of person or any people or whatsoever. They are lands that are totally litigation free. And of course, I can assure each and everybody who is interested in making a purchase from Ultimate Land Hub that their decision will not be a decision that will be in regret, since
all right, so Ultimate Land Hub will be at the Ekwang Journeys Habitat Fair happening from the 13th of September to the 15th of September. And that's it for this segment. The news returns shortly.
Well, we have just 2 days to go to the Joy News National Dialogue on Media Freedom. You have to stick and stay to the Joy News channel because we would be engaging key stakeholders as we look at protecting the freedom of the media ahead of the 2024 general election. My name is Faustina Safo, and that's how we wrap up News Text today. Have a pleasant day as you enjoy the rest of our programs.